So that started. Let's give it a minute. All right, we are done and got the technology going again.
Fantastic.
Thank you for joining us, everyone who is watching today or in the future. Today, I have a couple of very special guests. The formidable team that is Tracey and Nigel Pretty from Think Sold Real Estate on the Gold Coast. Welcome to you both.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So Tracey and Nigel, as a way of just giving us a little bit of an introduction, just tell us a little bit of where you are, your market, what you're doing, and that sort of thing.
Yep. After you, Trace.
Oh. Well, I've been in the real estate industry for 8-9 years now. Our market is based on the Northern Gold Coast. Sorry. And
buyer seller call now.
Yeah, well, that's a prospect. I should take that no. So we tend to have most of our market around the Arundelocks and Maudsley area. However, we don't say no really to most work. So we do go up to like Brisbane, down to, I don't know, down south as far as anybody wants us to go.
Far as the line.
As far as the line
down there,
yeah.
you sort of can't cross.
Yes.
Border.
And we've even got, because one of our clients moved to Hervey Bay and then really wanted to use us, we're also doing some stuff in Hervey Bay, but we are, with Michelle Lockwood's been helping us out with that as well, because obviously
awesome.
4.5-hour drive to go and do an open home is not an ideal situation.
And not a best use of your time or representing your buyers and sellers, that's for sure. But and one of the things we'll talk about today is a little bit of the collaboration and things that you may want to that we experience and what you can share. And certainly you've just mentioned one of our other agents, Michelle, who's been on this one of these sessions a few weeks back, who's up in Hervey Bay and obviously an eXp agent and able to collaborate with her.
Yep.
So that's one of the benefits of being part of the group. So tell me, what is you'd been in real estate before you joined eXp? Where were you? What inspired you to join eXp and start Think Sold?
It's probably a number of things. Yes, we work for the one of the big traditional bricks and mortar sort of organizations, and it got to a stage, I think, where we were constantly sort of having these sales meetings, which from my point of view, and I think Tracey's as well, it was like a waste of time for you, 2 minutes when you had to drive for, say, an hour there, an hour back. All of a sudden you got to midday and you hadn't done anything because you'd just been going through numbers. And even the car park, the principals was getting his new $350,000 Range Rover every sort of 12 months. And I don't know exactly when it dawned on me, but I was watching our sponsor. Everybody knows he's Mike Sherrard in Canada. And I'd been talking to sort of him on and off and doing some of his training sort of sessions. And he explained the model to me, which I sort of sat down and thought, hang on a minute. So at that stage, I don't think there was a calculator on the eXp Explained site. So I had a traditional spreadsheet with franchise fees and our commission split. And then I sort of looked at it saying, well, okay, if we did exactly the same as we did that 12 months, what would it look like if we had been eXp? And it worked out just over $400,000 difference to us as opposed to, and that's obviously why the Range Rovers were getting bought every 12 months.
Yes.
So we sort of, it was, and Mike had obviously mentioned about collaboration, which I think over the last 18 months that we've been with eXp now, one, we get involved in ourselves, but also I see it daily and Trace sees it daily if we need something doing. I mean, yes, you sort of mentioned earlier when Trace was talking about how far we go. Yes, we've got the dotted line of New South Wales that we don't pass because we're not licensed, but another one of our clients who really wanted some help spoke to Tracey. He owned a pub in Bingara, which is out western New South Wales. So Trace and I jumped on the phone with Macca, John McTavish, and sort of said, look, here's the situation. Can you help us? Can you help the client? Which Macca's done that. gone out and seen him, got the paperwork signed. He did have another agent, but now it looks like that's all sold as well. So it's not
Wonderful.
that we've sold a pub in New South Wales, but through a
Mm.
collaboration, the eXp model, we're able to, one, to keep our client extremely happy by utilising John's services.
Yeah, and that's certainly something that is different from, I think, the bricks and mortar that we talked about, that we can be with, in some cases, some of the biggest brands, but have offices that don't talk to each other, or
Yeah.
don't collaborate at all. So, we
Um,
of course we don't have territories, we don't have anything. Provided you're licensed, you can sell there. But there's a great example of, somewhere that was a long, long way from you, but in the interest of looking after the client, you found another agent with eXp, and that agent's looked after the client for you. And obviously, there's an income to be had for everybody, and that's what this is all about. That whilst looking after the clients, that we're also making a living doing our jobs to the best of our ability. So, just those pain points you mentioned, and the fact that you don't own that Range Rover that your ex-boss had.
yeah.
When you decided to make the jump, and you had good advice there from Mike Sherrard that you mentioned, when you decided to make the jump, what was the experience with the transition, and just what you had to do and learn, and everything to get embedded in the eXp model?
We Yes, we had a couple of legal problems with the previous,
Mm.
which we got sorted, and he didn't think we'd sue, but we decided to, and yes, we won. But in the process of that, sort of where we couldn't really do anything, Tracey, myself, and Lucas, who was with us at the time, sat down with Kirsten, our admin guru at eXp here in Australia, and just sort of went through that whole process. Luckily, being a team, Tracey's does probably a lot more of the admin side. That'd be right, wouldn't it, Trace?
Yeah, I don't let them touch
99%.
the contracts or Form 6s.
But yeah, the actual onboarding, etc., was so easy.
So easy.
I don't think there was any problems at all. Everything was explained. Obviously, yes, at eXp, we've got the trust accounts in all of the different states as well. So as business owners, we don't have to worry about that trust side of things. If we do need admin help and support, Tracey's quite often on the phone to Christine or Kirsten or Renee. That's just an easy process. We've
Mm.
never had a drama at all with anything, I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, there's you talk about getting that onboarding and sort of starting in the model. And a lot of people that go into business obviously have to reinvent that whole picture of business. You talk about trust accounting, and general accounting is the one that always scared me. Was the suppliers and the payments to them, and doing all of your Zero or your QuickBooks or whatever it might be. That starts to get away from a lot of business owners. That's not our
Mm.
our expertise. We're here to we're real estate agents, but
Yeah.
that's business. So having that all done for you is certainly a benefit to you, I know. And
Mm.
so that collaboration that you've got, and I know that you've worked with other people, and you've had other people that have come within the team that you've started to build.
Yeah.
Um, what are your goals with that sort of team and the collaboration as time passes? And tell us a little bit about other collaborations that you've had, because
Mm.
I know there's a big one coming.
Yeah. Yeah. And just a little one, yeah. I mean, some of the other collaborations, there's a lady that owns a property, well, 2 streets around the corner from us, and she owned 2 investment properties, one here and one in South Australia. And she didn't know which one to sell. She just wanted to pull some money out to start building up her super again. She decided to sell the property in South Australia. Again, obviously, we're not licensed, so it was a very sort of quick, easy process to phone up Chris, who at the time was the licensee in South Australia, now, of course, our country leader. And I sort of said to him, Chris, we've got a property in Golden Grove. I had no idea where that
So that
was.
was, yep.
Yeah, somewhere in South Australia. I didn't even know if it was in Adelaide or not. And Chrissy's like, "Yep, that's Mike Lowry's area. Give Mike a call." Spoke with Mike. Here's the lady. This is what she wants. Can you help her? Yes, not a problem. I think she was hoping to get 350 to 360.
Yeah.
Mike ended up getting her in the 500s, 520,
Yeah.
something like that. So she was ecstatic, over the moon. She's about to list her Queensland property now. And obviously, yes, he's definitely coming with us because eXp look after her.
Yeah.
We've had somebody from the Gold Coast that was buying a property in Harvey Bay, but they had to sell their property down here. So Calvin Murray, who's an agent up that way, gave us a call, spoke with myself and Sarah Maurer as well. So Tracey, myself and Sarah listed and sold the property in Tambourine Mountain.
Mm.
Got the right price. So the people that were buying, the property that they were buying, they were ecstatic because they got rid of their property so they could move on the next step of the journey. So it's
Yeah.
it's collaboration between the states all the time. It's it's
Yeah. And
Don't
it
forget
sounds
Stiglitz.
unbelievable. Sorry?
Don't
pardon me, Trace.
forget Stiglitz.
Oh, and Stiglitz, yeah, it's young couple. It was a renovated 3-bed, 2-bathroom in the middle of the cane fields. They had been with a different agent, weren't happy with them. So they went back to the agent that had sold that to them, which was Lee Martinuzzi, on the very good friend of ours on the Sunshine Coast. Because Lee's so far away, he said, have a chat with Nigel and Tracey. This was literally a couple of days before Trace was flying out to the UK to go and see her sister. And he'd been on the market for best part of 100 days with the other agent. We had it unconditional and sold within 8 days. So
Yeah.
that couple is over the moon. But without that introduction from Lee, who'd sold it to them 12, 13 years ago, again, this wouldn't have happened. But it's just showing eXp how
Mm.
everybody works together for the common good, which is the client and their journey.
Yeah, and you mentioned 4 or 5 different names there that you've been involved with in different states, or certainly a long way away from you in Queensland. I spoke to Mike
Yep.
earlier today, and just he's able to get the best the market will pay in that market, whereas you didn't even know where it was, let alone the market. But you've
Yep.
been able to collaborate with someone that did the right thing for the vendor and got the great result. And here you are with the next property, and so it goes on. So it's certainly an ecosystem of agents that does want to work together and does want to help each other. Unlike we've all worked in offices where you can have someone right next to you in between 2 walls in the same company, and they don't want to help each other.
That's right.
They virtually are competitors inside the same business. It's really a shame that that's the experience that they have.
Yeah.
And how do you go with, how have you found tools and resources and the sort of tech and that sort of thing that you're able to use, and everything you need to do business day to day? How are you finding all that sort of those things?
Price?
Tracey, you're
Oh,
the
sorry.
administrator and in charge
I
of
guess
all
I
that.
am, aren't I? Yes, I do all that
How
stuff.
do you find, the tech stack, I suppose you'd call it?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited that we're moving over to the rec system. But basically, yes, the majority of the tech is fantastic. I don't seem to have a problem with anything. It's more me getting my head around. I mean, I'm not great with Canva, and I know that. So I struggle every time I go in there to do something. I have a certain couple of things that I do on it, and I do them very well. But when I have to start again, like I want to design like the DL things that Chris was putting out, those trifold things, I can't figure it out for the life of me. So I'm just like, okay.
Well, and I mean, there's something I'll help you right now on the spot, certainly. Chris will share the template for you and you just change the names and the logos. So that's another
That would
thing
be
that we
fantastic.
certainly, what we do. I know we shares a lot, we all do. And I was just in Canva, I made a breaking news video for the interest rate drop. There's so much in there, but if you want that, please just message Chris, he'll send it to you quite quickly. And then you've got that, threefold DL that I remember him talking about it in a session not so long ago. But those are the type of things that, we're all, I think Chris's greatest saying is rip and repeat, rip off my thing as much as you like and repeat it out in your market. You know, none of us mind that at all, and it's all just about trying to be more efficient and save you time rather than trying to, you know, get your head around a program that you know, but don't feel you know enough to be able to create that thing. So that's another
Yeah,
thing. We'll just, you know, share as much as we can, and I know there's a lot of templates and things in Canva that agents use, and yeah, there's so much in that program. It's hard to know when you've learned enough because it just seems to be more and more and more. But
I think that's
certainly
the
great.
thing, and yeah, and with sort of tech as a whole, and yes, okay, Tracy sort of mentioned, say, Canva. Yes, it's a question of us wrapping our head around it, but the fact that we get Canva Pro as part of our EXP, you know, it's not a question of having to go and buy something to do it. EXP gives us Canva Pro. Yes, we're also on the eXp luxury side, so we've got a whole suite of Canva documents within eXp luxury that we can rip and replicate and drop our codes and our logos, etc., on there. So you know, it's I mean, it's all of the what you get in there is fantastic, sort of from the vendor paid advertising guys that we've just swapped over to. There's something in there where you've got all the tools that you would ever need, plus more.
Yeah. Yeah, and you mentioned luxury, and I'll ask you about that. So you're one of the first in Australia, early days, to take on the eXp luxury. How have you found
Yep.
that's gone when you're in front of a prospective vendor, or you know, putting that marketing out there? How are you seeing that's panning out as setting yourselves apart?
Um, I, th I think obviously without going into everything the luxury does, I mean, first of all, there is like a presentation center. So it's as simple as typing the address in and uploading one photograph. Press create, and within 30 seconds, you have a viewable, a downloadable, or an emailable 16-page PDF that I printed one out the other day. I went to Officeworks and I did up some nice letterhead paper with the actual, eXp luxury, like a gold border on it. Cost $2.68 for the 16-page PDF stapled in the middle. And it's on really high quality paper, high gloss color paper, and pop in an envelope and send it off to some of these expired listings, and sort of either saying to them, is your agent offering this, or if it's a new presentation where you're up against, the big boys, and just say, is your agent offering this, or do they have the capability to put you into Wall Street Journal, into the Rob Report, into Barron's, your own YouTube channel, 80 odd publications worldwide, the Haven, Market Watch, etc. And then we just shut up and just let them read it and let it sink in.
It's quite impactful, isn't it? The breadth and amount of reach that program has.
Yeah, and I'm sort of going through the process of looking at the aged, call them luxury listings, those $3, $4, $5 million plus type properties, or properties, and spending $2.50, printing them out, putting the letter, putting a stamp on it, dropping it in their letterbox, or even knocking on the door. I mean, the one I did yesterday was for a property that's been on the market now with 3 different agents for a year and a half. Wanted $21 million for it, and he's still looking. I went around there literally yesterday with the envelope ready, tried to knock on the door, but it's gated and hidden away. So I've left it there in his letterbox, and I'm waiting for the call. So, but it's not just Australia. I mean, if you're at any other, I don't know, traditional sort of brokerage, and somebody comes into your office saying, look, we're thinking of selling our house, but we want to buy somewhere first, but we're moving to Canada. Well, most agents here would go, oh, Jesus, well, I don't know, look in the phone book. Just happened to be 100 miles around the corner from Mike. So I'll give Mike a call and say, couple want to move back to Sun Peaks in Calgary. Who do we know? And he said, talk to this agent, this agent, this agent. Spoken to them. Within a couple of days, they've got 3 or 4 different properties that they have for sale. Sent them off to the client and said, look, this is what we can do for you. She was amazed that we're actually trying to help her buy a property in Canada.
Yeah, the reach is just, yes, it's a phenomenal
the
thing.
reach is because what is it? 28 countries now, I think, with
There was a
Ecuador's
quick
just
little one last week. Ecuador's open.
couple of days.
That was a quick one. That was good.
Mm.
It already got 50 plus agents joined, but
Yep.
yeah, the reach is just something that I don't think there's many companies in the world can offer clients. And whilst not everyone's moving to Canada, but a lot of people are moving intrastate. You know, I'm in Melbourne. I know a lot of Melbourneites move to Queensland. It's a common thing. So just having people on the ground that can assist is you know, great benefit to us as agents.
Yeah.
Tell me how you found things like the support and the training over the time that you've been with us, because that's something that agents that come and, you know, because you are your own business, you're on your own, but I think we've already talked about the fact you're not on your own. But when it comes to that support and training, that side of things that you'd often get from your franchise or from attending conferences and things like that, how do you find that?
Go on, Tracey.
I actually think that I actually think that the amount of training that is provided, there's always something every day of the week, basically, that you can tap into, is probably better than training we've been getting anywhere else. It's more accessible. It's if it's something that you don't necessarily need as such, then and you're busy, you get the recordings. But if it's something that you like, I could really do with being involved in this one, you can go into it. So it's been extremely good, and you can just block out that time. You're not having to travel anywhere to do it. So that half an hour or whatever it takes to get there or get back, that's taken out of the equation. You're right there. And what I've also found is that all of the training that we've done has always been to time. So, when we were with one of the other organizations, like I say, an hour meeting blew out to 2 or 3 hours. And it's like, come on, we've got to get out of here,
We've got work to do.
Exactly.
I know we try and keep it, in that 30 to 60 minute range, because we all do have other things to do. We want to make sure it's short and sharp and to the point. What else do you see as being the next thing for your business? We don't talk a lot about revenue share and downlines on a lot of these, but I know that's something that you are interested in. Is that something that's the next down the track for you to start to grow that network of your own sponsored agents into eXp?
I think so, and I think the way we like to sort of try and work is we want to be close enough to be able to, handle them or to nurture them or to train them or to share ideas. Our first downline was Karen Corbett in Gympie, which is 2.5 hours drive. When she was first coming on board, I went up there for the day. Took me 2.5 hours to get there. It took 4.5 to come back because of the traffic, but whatever. But we sort of sat down and we still talk, at least once or twice a week, if not daily. Just bouncing ideas to sort of say, and being part of Wolfpack, which is Mike Sherrod's, of course, we've got access to all of his training. So if I can't make one because it's 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock in the morning, for argument's sake, Karen might jump on it, and then she'll sort of, share any notes or questions or, about that. But yes, definitely growing a team. But not to the detriment of us or our other team members. So, I mean, if we got up to 50 or 60 sponsored agents under us, that probably would affect what we're doing, but also how we help Karen or how we help other people. So, but yes, definitely growing and promoting eXp. Obviously, yes, we are our own brand and our own company, but our logos have the eXp logo on. So it's a question of promoting eXp. And some people might be, never heard of eXp. And it's, that's fine. This is how big we are. We're in all of these countries. The agent that you're talking about may be sort of using, can they offer you that? Because at the end of the day, they're just independent contractors within an office. So it's at the end of the day, one person against us.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I think that, having those experiences that you've talked about already with that collaborations that you've done are just,
yeah,
it's gold when you're speaking to anybody, no matter where they are, that
yeah,
this is really what does happen in the company. And you've got so many of them
yeah,
that it's, the
yeah,
weight of the information just lands. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's for
And
sure.
we can sure share it around, and by knowing and talking to the other agents, yeah, 2-3 times a day. Sometimes I get in trouble from Trace because I'm spending too much time talking to everybody else, but still, it's if we've got a client who wants to get out of the Gold Coast, because yes, it's getting busy with all you Victorians coming up here. People want to get out to the Sunshine Coast or to the Hervey Bay regions or to Rockhampton or to Cairns even. Yeah, we can put them in touch with the agent that's there. So it's more like a seamless handover to say, hey, we're all eXp, talk to this eXp
Yeah.
agent.
Yep. No, that's awesome. So what would you say to an agent that might be watching this video tomorrow, next week, whenever it might be, and that they're thinking, I'm considering eXp, I might stay where I am, I might be considering other different models or things that are around. What would you say to someone like that?
Right?
You can each have a go.
Yeah,
we
you
looked
go
at we
first.
looked at we looked at a few models before coming over to eXp. We chose eXp because it seemed to offer more, for want of a better word. And like I said, the training's really good. It is a big decision for anyone to make, but if you can sell at a list and sell in a big organization, so to speak, one of the normal franchise type things, you can definitely still do it on your own with eXp, and reap more rewards for it. So why slog your guts out for somebody else's BMW, as Nigel was saying.
Yeah. And this is the thing, and it's coming to fruition all over the world when you think about our recent election and the fact that neither of the big parties are getting more. It's these independents, and here we are as independent real estate agents in the main. And I think independent cloud-based agents are certainly a big growing bunch. There's always been independents in real estate, that's for sure. But the cloud-based and the way our company works with the collaboration we spoke about is just taking it to down another path that gives the end user, the client, the benefit. But that's certainly something that when considering other models and which way forward's the best way, it's you've touched on some very unique points that you find at eXp. What about you, Nigel? What would you say to someone that's considering it?
Yeah, I mean, as Trace sort of said, at the end of the day, the client who is selling a house normally entrusts an agent because they have a connection with the agent. It's not with the brand. It's with Fred or Wendy or whoever the agent is. But where we are at eXp and with any of these big traditional bricks and mortars, their brand is the brand and you work for that brand. I mean, some of the book signboards, you can't even have the agent's mobile number on it. It goes to an office number. You aren't the brand. You have no control over your data that you're getting rained on, getting hailed on, getting sunburnt, getting attacked by dogs or snakes or whatever it might be. So you are your brand, and yes, we've got our brand, it's our mobile numbers. And if we want to tweak our logo for a Christmas season or something like that, or any of those particular times of the year you might want to promote something, if you're with the traditional brand, you cannot touch that logo. You can't put a mobile number in it. You cannot put a Easter bunny on top of the logo. The bunny's got to go somewhere else. We can do what we like when we like. And if the odd thing came up and you did have to go to a corporate somewhere else, it could take weeks to get approved, by which time you've missed the point.
Yeah.
And I think, yes, we are the brand. Our faces are on everything. It's our mobile numbers on it. It's not an office number. It's not working for somebody else. So yeah, that's one of the main things I like. You are the brand.
Yeah, you touch on something that, I've experienced, and a lot of others have, where you're very much limited to what you can do to promote yourself.
Yep.
Putting your photos on an ad or on a board is just discouraged by a lot of brands, even though you're the one that's doing all the work.
Yep.
And giving up 50% and more in some cases
Yep.
for the privilege, which I understand the model. It's just, for me, that model's dead, and is yet to be buried. But I think there'll be a lot of them that do need agents that do need to transition to other ways of doing it in the future. And certainly look forward to being there for them. So any final parting thoughts from either of you about what you'd like to share about your experience, or just, to impart upon anyone watching the video in the future?
I think it's just have a look at it, come in open-minded, ask as many questions as you can, whether it's Tracey or myself that you ask, or any of the other sort of previous hosts or future hosts, etc. Have a look at the model, do your research, and at the end of the day, if you want that more freedom, I mean, yes, Saturdays and Sundays normally are, they're out, but yeah, you are, as I said, you are the brand. So why are you giving money away? Just have a look, do the numbers, and say to yourself, why do people employ you as an agent? They employ you. They're not employing a certain colored square or a different colored square. They're employing you in your face because you have that personal connection with them.
Yep.
And control what you can control.
Yeah, appreciate that. Tracey, any parting words from you? We've just clocked over the half hour, and as you mentioned earlier, we don't want to drag it on.
Do stick to time.
Yeah, talk quick.
I was just going to say that, the days of bricks and mortar and being part of having to go into an office somewhere to do the work, those days have really gone. It really is, to be able to work from home. You don't get people walking into offices nowadays to go and find a house. People look online. So that's what we do. We work online. Yeah. And you're paying for the privilege of going into somebody else's office to pay them the money for what your hard work. So have a really good think about it.
And you shouldn't be in the office anyway. So if you're in the office, you're not listing and selling.
That's it. No, I really appreciate you both for joining me today. I'm glad I got both of you here. That's been awesome. And certainly if you're watching this video, having been directed to watch it with a link from one of our agents, please do go back to one of those agents, to that agent, and thank them and ask them any more questions you have. If you want to contact Nigel or Tracey Pretty and ask them any questions directly, you'll find them if you Google them, or Google Think Sold Real Estate. You'll certainly find them, and I'm sure they'll be happy to talk to you and just share any of the direct experiences and clear up anything that you need as an agent, considering, like Nigel said, considering looking at the model and considering it closely.
Yep.
Thank you both.
All right, appreciate it, Tony.
Appreciate you joining. I'll speak to you both soon.
Sounds good.
Speak soon. Bye.
See you guys.